Hello everybody. I've got all kinds of stuff going on here, lots of cool stuff going on, and a lot of you guys have requested that I start doing like one of these videos every month or so, and I think it's been about a month and a half since I made one. So I'm going to show you guys all the tanks I have here at my house over here at Mark Shelley Aquatics and markshellyaquatics.com. I cover everything, even my guppy tanks, tons and tons of shrimp stuff, tons and tons of plant stuff. We got snails, we got plecos, we got all kinds of different shrimp, all the different colored neocaridina shrimp you can dream of. And so let's take a tour of, I guess I'll call it shrimp heaven. Hope you guys enjoy. Alright everyone, so we'll start over here. This is what I refer to as the closet area. And here we have 8 40-gallon tanks. This is a 12-foot by 4-foot closet. And then over here we have 5 20s. And then over here we have 5 more 20s. So we'll start up here on the top tank on these 20s, and this is my best red line. This is the line I have been resetting, let it breed out. Resetting is keeping only the best. We got lots and lots and lots of little babies. Hopefully they turn out to be really good. They all look like they're going to be at least decent. We'll see. Now this tank is exploding. This is one of the tanks where there are just gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of baby shrimp. Now when I do these tank resets, I still feed the tank probably more than I should, hence the snails, but look at all the shrimp it makes. Let's see if we can get a shot here. Look at that one, oh my man. Some good ones. So, the 20-gallon long fire red tank. Next one down is one of my remaining guppy tanks. This is a red mosaic tank that I have just let them breed out for a while. This tank is probably going to be converted into a shrimp tank, and I'll be combining this tank with the tank right below it, because I used to be pretty into guppies, still am, but they just don't make sense to do. There's some really good ones in here. When this is my hobby is turned into a business, the for fun stuff will have to get pushed aside a little bit. Alright, to the guppy tanks. The tank below that one is the top tier Bloody Mary tank. I just did a video resetting a few weeks ago, or last week I think it was. But look, we already got new babies. That didn't take long. Of course, obviously the buried female ones. Some babies. But sweet. Then down here on the floor is a tank we just did a whole bunch of work on in a video in the last week or so. This is a blue jelly 20-gallon tank down here on the floor. These guys are doing super good. We went through the whole thing and we only found like 4 or 5 shrimp to take out this whole tank. I'm sure if we looked really hard we might find 1 or 2 that we missed, but I'm super happy with this tank. So that's it for that rack of 20s. Let's take a look at the 8 40-gallon breeders. So this tank has been cloudy for a while now. but the shrimp don't mind. The plants don't mind. I guess a little bit of, just a touch of green water is what this tank needs to balance itself out. And so I just let it do what it wants to do. As long as the shrimps love it, and then I love it. So this tank is going to be getting a real good over blue jelly 40 gallon is going to be getting gone over real good, because one of my projects coming up is going to be a blue jelly pond, and this is where a lot of the plants are going to come from with that project. And then right over here beside it we have my 40 gallon orange neocaridina, and so I reset this tank. The orange shrimp are never a huge priority for me, to be honest. But then I reset it. I've been working it really hard. In fact, one of the videos coming up will be, we'll sit down and really go over this tank real good. But after the shrimp got away from me a little bit in this tank, and I've been selling shrimp for years now. Just recently, just selling as a hobbyist. And orange was never a big deal, so I never paid a whole lot of attention to it. But I've got it straightened up here in the last 8 months or so, I do believe it's been. And these guys are looking really good again. I'm super happy. Still get some reddish looking red ones, and there's a few wild ones, and some are just low quality oranges, but these guys are getting better and better and better. $40 gallon orange. And then below that we have the 40 gallon blue dreams. Both these 40 gallon, the blue dreams and the blue velvet tanks right now are going berserks. We've got lots of buried. This tank is a few weeks behind the blue velvet tank. The blue velvet has tons of little babies and tons of buried females. And then this tank is also the Pleco world. Oh look, we got brand new hatchling. Look at that, we just discovered it right here on the video. So that means in their cave somewhere, I think it's actually back there beside the brick, and they got tunnels and stuff to go underneath the moss, and they spawn, and yeah, I don't see it now, but there's a brand new fresh baby Pleco with the egg still attached to it. So yay, more Plecos, just what I needed in here. That's what I get for feeding the shrimp so much. Since now that I'm home, working on the tanks all the time, every day, I feed more and change a little more water and have a closer eye on everything. And so I can really maximize the tank space that I have. And with that, these guys think, let's make babies, because he's throwing in so much food. And the babies are saying, we're all going to live. And now you're going to have 250 Plecos to deal with. I guess I could just take one of them out, but what would be the fun in that? And I think there's a couple babies that have been in here and survived. So there's more than just a pair. And to get them out, I have to destroy the whole tank. This tank is lots of fun to watch. Super good shrimp. Lots of baby Plecos. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe how many Plecos. And then right next door to that, we have what is mainly dedicated to super red Plecos and jungle val. And then I just have mixed reds And here there was the few remnants of a yellow line that just quit breeding on me. I have no explanation why they didn't die, they just quit reproducing. That's why I don't have yellow shrimp anymore. I get asked that a lot, but when I restarted my 75-gallon red shrimp tank, the Sakura tank, the ones that were not quite so good, you know, I picked out the best of the best, put them back in there, and the ones that are kind of eh. But I was trying to go through it real fast, and some really good shrimp ended up in here. So I'm just growing out a bunch of reds in here. They're not, there's some wilds and some few yellow ones, and there's a tank growing Plecos and Val and super red Plecos. And if you buy snails off my website, markshellyaquatics.com, this is the tank it comes out of. Trumpet snail heaven. Okay, below that, this is a 40-gallon green jade. It was a panda guppy tank. Looks so sad and bare, but it was just reset. And it used to be, at one time, as a green jade tank. And now I picked out only the top tier shrimp. I since even took out some of the ones I picked. I've taken a few of those out. And I'm waiting to make sure everything's good. When I start seeing babies in here, I'm going to take some green jades from both my other green jade tanks and get this colony really rocking and rolling. Once I start seeing these guys making babies, I see there's a couple of them that are buried, I do believe. Maybe. I've seen at least one buried one in here before. I think this one is. I can't see you. And there's also, to keep the cycle going, we also have long fin and short fin lemon blue eye plecos in here. And look how this mermaid weed, I planted those stems and they're all like converging in the middle. I thought that was kind of cool. As you can see, the mermaid weed is starting to grow because it's getting better light there than from where it come from. So you can see the new growth is different. So when you start seeing new growth, you got new growth there. That means that's good for shrimp tanks. So this might be one of my favorite tanks, but it's also one of the hardest tanks to get at, to look at. And this is a 40-gallon Bloody Mary tank. I'm gonna have to do a call video on this tank here coming up here soon. Take out these blue ones that these guys throw from time to time. Look at these guys. Oh my gosh. There's some green dragon plecos in here too. So look at the Nubius. Oh, the Nubius is just taking this tank over. All the way over to there. This great big huge pile of moss. Lots of shrimp. Lots of shrimp in this tank. Okay, and then below that we have the Skittles tank. Look at this thing now. We got look at that, we got a buried snowball female. Is it buried? I can't. It's a snowball, close to being a snowball. I thought she was buried, but it don't look like she is. But I think she was before, so she must have dropped her eggs. Oh, there's another female snowball. I wonder how the snowballs are popping up in here. I'm not complaining, but that's kind of weird. Look at what we got here. Oh my Goodness. There's a male snowball. The snowballs look pretty cool and all those different colored shrimp. You got all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. And it's getting to the point where I gotta do something with these plants, because man oh man, the moss is taking over. That is one giant cryptoid deadeye back there. Alright, and then down here on the floor, since I'm down here on the floor for the Skittles tank, we'll start on the other rack of 20 longs. This is my underperforming orange shrimp tank. The shrimp are all really good looking. It's just not doing good. I gotta figure out something with this tank. Something. That'll probably be a problem tank video here coming up. And then look at this. We got a whole bunch of snowballs in this 20-gallon long. Look at that. I think I'm gonna try resetting this tank. I've never really culled for snowballs. These guys just kind of are what they are. There's some that are a little more whiter than others. I'd say they're all pretty white though. Now you will see some oddball ones pop up every great once in a while, but you can see ones with like red on them sometimes. But other than that, they're pretty good. So this is another blue jelly 20-gallon long. This is the newest one I set up. This one is around Thanksgiving, I believe. I started this thing with about 15, 20 shrimp. And now we've got a lot. Alright, so, and then we come to another guppy tank, Japan Blue. These guys are a lot of fun. I like them. One of the last guppy lines I've held on to. I still plan to keep this tank what it is. I still like these guys enough to keep them. And then up here at the top in the last tank, in the closet area, green jade, 20-gallon long. This thing's doing pretty good. Not amazing, but there's buried ones and there's little babies, and I'm happy with it. Alright, now we're in my family room. There's the closet we just was looking at. And now we're over here, and right now this still is a 110-gallon stock tank guppy pond. And look at these guppies. There's hundreds and hundreds. So what this tank had always been was like my Skittles tank for shrimp. When I had all kinds of guppy lines, this was my guppy Skittles tank, where all the leftovers and the culls and the not keeping for lines, this is where those all went. The guppy culls, and whenever I decided to convert a tank to a shrimp tank, the whole whatever was in the tank just got tossed in here. Every single guppy would get thrown in here. Look at this LiQWYD. Look how red it gets when it gets close to the bright light. This is also my main plant farm. So all the stem plants and even a lot of the moss you might buy on my website, markshlyproducts.com, would come from here. And this is just my fun little project here. This is a great big giant anubias growing immersed. It's in my 5-gallon bucket filter I got going on here. We got water going in through the sponges, and down there is a 1,000 gallon per hour pump. The pump is, there's something clogged, so yeah, that's gonna suck. But what I am thinking is the guppies are gonna go eventually, and this will end up being a shrimp pond. So that'll be fun, but I really hate, this is one of the things I've been dreading, because I love all these guppies. There's so many different cool ones all mixed together. But it's all about shrimping these days. But this still, I enjoy it. That Anubius, let's see if I get some shots of that. Look at that. This flower is just dropped. But look how big this flower, look how big the flowers get on it. It's getting up out of the water. Look at this plant. This is really something. All right. So then if we spin around and look across the room, I'm in my roller chair, rolling across the room. We have the Bloody Mary 100 gallon shrimp pond. I put an algae wafer down right in that area. See all of them. But then with all this algae and biofilm growing on the sides, yes, there's thousands and thousands of snails. But the trade-off is all these shrimp. But I have discovered a way to, I've been taking down the snail numbers pretty good in here. All these are all pond snails mostly, and they all like to be on the water's edge. And so when I do a water change, there's hundreds and hundreds of them at the top. So I'll probably take the water down to somewhere down in this area. I take it down below the spray bar a good bit, and then fill it, and then before I fill it back up, there'll be tons and tons of snails just crawling all over right here. It's so weird. And I'll take the shop vac, because right now there's a bunch of shrimp up here too, but when the water drops, the shrimp go down in the water and the snails stay up here on the surface, and even more snails come up. So then it's, you get a lot of snails like that. With the shop vac, makes your shop vac stink real bad though, I'll tell you that much. But the thing that is impressing me here is the plant growth. This is makes it horrible to see with the glare here. That moss, oh my gosh. It was just a chunk in the back there when I started it. Now it's growing all the way up to the front. And even more amazing to me, these are Florida sunset crypts. And crypts are very, very slow growing plants. I have a nice big deep bed of blasting sand in here, and I use Job's plant spikes underneath these guys. And look at them just grow. Oh my goodness. I mean, if you go back to when I set this tank up and I was planting these things, that's exactly where they're at now. And these plants haven't been touched. There's been nothing added. This is all, the plant growth in this thing is pretty awesome. Pretty amazing. And then we look up there and we got tanks over here. This is 420 highs. a 75, and a 20 long on the floor. And then this is one of my other blue jelly lines. This is a tank that I've been breeding them out. I ended up letting them breed out for like 9-10 months. And then the tank leaked on me, and there's a tank. I did a video where I replaced this tank, and I just dumped all the shrimp back in here. And there's been so many shrimp in there. I sold hundreds and hundreds of blue jellies out of this tank. And then probably about a month or so ago, I started selling out of the 40 gallon. And then when the 40 gallon starts getting sparse, I'll sell one of the 20 longs. And then when that starts getting sparse, I'll sell another 20 long. And then we'll be back to here. So this thing ain't been sold out of for probably a month and a half. Month and a half. Maybe a couple months by now. And it's starting to bounce back. And these tanks also got new lights, so the moss is growing like wildfire. So that's always a good sign for the shrimp. Next door, this is this main snowball shrimp tank. There's lots of buried snowballs. But what had happened here, I had sold a whole bunch of snowballs out of here. And then these snowballs, they are pretty cool shrimp. They're one of the toughest lines. They're actually slightly different than most of the other ones. They are their own little subspecies. If you look at a lot of these guys the snowballs be pearl whites, white pearl. There's blue pearls, and those are all their own little Neocaridina subspecies. So these guys are a little bit different than most of your other ones. And just look at all the little babies. I was just talking to a guy, one of my good customers who repeats and buys off me time and time again. He got some snowballs, and he's talking about, because I ended up throwing him some little teeny tiny babies in there for free, because when you try to catch, you swipe your net down to catch. Say, all right, I'm gonna catch a handful of these, and if you look, you're gonna catch little babies that you don't even know you caught. And then you end up getting some of those they were freebies. Look at these little tiny snowballs in here. Up on the glass. They're everywhere. Alright. And next to that is my Blue Dreams line that I've been breeding out, resetting. This is actually on round 4, I believe, on this one. It's about time to start calling. Now, I have these guys on bare bottom on purpose, because I feel like bare bottom makes their colors be the worst. And so then it's easier to pick out lesser shrimp. And the really, really good ones stand out more and more. Now this tank, it's cloudy, but it's got, these 4 tanks got a new light on them, and so this one decided to go cloudy, and there's even lots of them swimming around. This tank just exploded. Every single female shrimp that I kept was buried, had babies, got buried again. They're still almost all buried. This tank is just a very, very happy shrimp tank right now. That's all I can say. This is about as happy as a shrimp tank can get. I mean, I've seen, this might be the most concentrated babies I've ever seen. I don't know, I've had a lot of shrimp and a lot of shrimp tanks, over the years. I don't know if I've seen anything like this before. This many babies compared to so few adults. It's pretty cool. And then the 420 high, we have my little fun guppy project tank. This is strictly for fun. I took some of these, they're like Japan blue red mosaic tail cross looking things. I've seen several of them in my pond, in the guppy pond I really liked. And then I went to the red mosaic tank, and there's a bunch of fry in there, and I picked out little teeny tiny fry that I thought were females. I ended up taking out a couple of them, ended up being males when they got a little older, but they got out. I put them in here, this little baby fry, all these females, and now the males, the crossbreed males are starting to get old. I'm crossing them back to red mosaic females. Then I might take the best of those and cross them back to Japan blue females. So I don't know. This is strictly a for fun hobby tank. They got little fry of all different ages swimming around in there. Always makes me happy to see the guppies doing good. So this tank's getting a little bit of start of hair algae. I guess that's to be expected with the new light. Gotta get this moss growing more to balance the tank out. And then down below that, this is probably the tank I sit and look at the most, because this is my chair. I'm sitting in my recliner right now. This was a tank that had been struggling. I was selling lots and lots of shrimp out of here, but I was like, man, I'm not seeing that many babies anymore. And so I had to slow the sales down on this tank some. But now I got the new lights on this one. And let's see if we can get it good shot here. This is all the moss in this entire tank. There's just little teeny tiny red baby shrimp. So these guys, the cell I usually have on them will be going back on here by the end of the summer, I do believe. It's good to see these guys bouncing back. Started bouncing back as soon as I put those new lights on. And we got some long fin lemon blue eye. There's the female. There's a short fin baby. And there's I think that one will be a short fin female maybe. The males are hiding. But this is the tank I sit and watch the most of all my tanks. And then we got down here on the floor, we've got an orange. This is my orange tank. I'm going for the best orange I can make. So this is a tank that'll be reset and reset over and over again. And it was reset not too long ago. I was looking down here and saw a bunch of little babies. But it's coming along. It's doing good. And then over here, the last tank in the back of the house, 29-gallon Panda Guppy tank, and Jungle Val and Florida Sunset Crips. All those Florida Sunset Crips all got started in here. They've been growing out for like 2 years in this tank, and I plucked like 80% of them out and put them in the pond, and now they're taking off. And now these are just kind of they're still surviving. They're growing a little bit. They're not growing like the ones in the pond. So there's a bunch of guppies in here now, because when I reset the 40, or when I made my 40-gallon Panda tank a shrimp tank, the best ones, or all the good ones come in here. I'm sure there's still some culling to do in here, but guppies are just for fun. Guppies are a hobby. I still have my shrimp. Shrimp are my passion and turn into a business. But you'll see some guppies on the tank from time to time. There are some guppies on the tank. There are some guppies on the website right now. Actually, if anyone is interested, I don't have a whole lot of them, but I got some. Then we have my 75-gallon green jade tank. I'm getting ready to do a calling on this one. But this is another one that had been struggling. Put these new lights on here, and I start seeing lots and lots of shrimp again. Now that the numbers are starting to bounce back up, we're going to do a good calling on this tank. That'll be in a video coming up. Let's see. We zoom in on here. Maybe if we come over here. There are. I was looking through here the other day and saw a bunch of little babies. But this tank is definitely bouncing back. Just needed the new lights like the red tank did. But as far as this tank goes, I really like how the crypts are growing out in here. Moss. That moss has like tripled in the last 3 weeks from putting the new lights in. We even have some super red long fins. There's a good bit of shrimp there. Be calling these guys out here soon. Alright everyone, so that's all the tanks. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I didn't have a whole lot of time to make a bunch of nice videos this week with the holiday, and I got kid baseball this weekend. So I'm doing the best I can this week. I've got so many orders going out. Packing is taking like at least half of 2 days now. And now I used to always ship on Fridays. Now I'm shipping on Fridays and Tuesdays. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.